What if I told you that one of South Asia's most important militaries just quietly made a move that's about to reshape the entire region's balance of power? On November 25th, 2025, the Bangladesh Army did something they rarely do publicly. They put out a call for one of the world's most advanced weapon systems, and the global intelligence community is taking notice. In the next 8 minutes, we're breaking down exactly what Bangladesh just acquired, why it matters, and what this means for the future of defense in Asia. If you care about geopolitics, military strategy, or South Asian stability, you need to watch this. Stay with us. Let's set the stage. Bangladesh isn't typically known for flashy military procurement announcements. It's a country of 170 million people, strategically positioned between India and Myanmar with a growing economic profile, but a historically cautious defense posture. But something has shifted. The Bangladesh Army's Directorate General Defence Purchase, essentially their weapons procurement authority, issued what's called a Request for Information, or RFI. Now, an RFI isn't a purchase order, but it's the clearest signal possible that a military is serious about acquiring something specific. It's like window shopping, except the windows are looking at combat systems that would make any military tactician sit up and take notice. At the top of the list, the Javelin anti-tank guided missile system. Now, if you don't know what this is, imagine a weapon so advanced, so lethal, and so trusted that it's the gold standard for modern militaries across the West and increasingly across Asia. The Javelin is what's called a fire and forget system. You point it, you pull the trigger, and the missile autonomously hunts down the target, even if that target is a moving tank. This isn't some theoretical weapon. The Javelin has been battle-tested across 3 decades of conflicts from the Middle East to Europe. It's what elite special operations forces and airborne units use when they absolutely need to neutralize armored threats. For Bangladesh, a nation surrounded by geopolitical complexities, this represents a quantum leap in anti-armor capability. We're not talking about something incremental. We're talking about NATO-standard weaponry in the hands of Bangladesh's special forces. But the Bangladesh Army didn't stop there. They're also looking at advanced HALO and HAHO parachute systems. That's high-altitude low opening and high-altitude high opening for deep infiltration operations. They want programmable airburst grenades that can engage targets behind cover and in the air. And here's where it gets really interesting. They're seeking a closed vertical wind tunnel. That's not just about training. That's about building infrastructure. That's about permanence. That's about signaling that Bangladesh is building a world-class special operations capability that stays. So what's really happening here? On the surface, Bangladesh is modernizing, but dig deeper and there are seismic implications. First, regional power dynamics. Bangladesh sits in one of the world's most strategically sensitive zones. To the west is India, the regional hegemon. To the southeast is Myanmar, currently in chaos. To the east is China's sphere of influence. By acquiring NATO-standard anti-tank systems and advanced special operations capabilities, Bangladesh is essentially saying, we're not dependent on any single power. We have options. Second, this is a quality over quantity doctrine shift. For decades, South Asian militaries competed on numbers. More soldiers, more tanks, more helicopters. Bangladesh is flipping that script. They're saying, we don't need the biggest army. We need the most technologically advanced elite units. That's what serious military professionals call asymmetric capability. Third, this sends a message about Bangladesh's ambitions. The Javelin system requires training, doctrine, integration with other systems, and a forward-looking operational philosophy. You don't acquire this system if you're thinking defensively. You acquire it if you're thinking about power projection, special operations reach, and credible deterrence. Fourth, the geopolitical angle that nobody's talking about yet, this potentially signals Bangladesh's strategic positioning in a multipolar world. When a nation is openly seeking systems from Group A countries, which in military speak means Western-aligned, NATO-compatible nations, it's making a statement about its alignment. In an era where great powers are competing for influence across Asia, this matters. What's crucial to understand is that this RFI isn't happening in a vacuum. Over the last decade, the Bangladesh Army has been on a deliberate modernization trajectory. New rifles, new helicopters, new communication systems, but this, Javelin missiles, airburst grenades, advanced airborne training, this is the first time we're seeing Bangladesh publicly reach for the absolute cutting edge of military technology. This reflects a military that's professionalizing, that's studying global conflicts, that's learning from Ukraine, from the Middle East, from every modern theater where small, highly trained units with advanced weapons have proven to be force multipliers. The December 11, 2025 deadline for suppliers to submit information is also telling. This isn't casual. This is a formal procurement timeline. The Bangladesh Army wants answers in 2 weeks. That means evaluation and likely decision-making before the end of 2025. Here's what keeps strategists up at night. When you introduce asymmetric capabilities like Javelin systems into a region, you change the calculus of conflict. A handful of trained operators with Javelin missiles can level the playing field against larger, heavier forces. That's why militaries everywhere want them. For Bangladesh, the integration of these systems could fundamentally alter how regional powers calculate risk. And for global defense contractors, especially American firms whose systems the Javelin represents, this is significant market movement in an underserved region. But here's the wild card. Bangladesh's government has been navigating intense political pressures. A military that's better armed, better trained, and more capable is a military with more strategic options. Sometimes that's stabilizing. Sometimes it's not. That's why democracies, development agencies, and regional observers are watching this carefully. The bottom line, Bangladesh just signaled that it's moving up. It's moving from being a country that acquires hand-me-downs to being a country that acquires cutting-edge systems. That's a shift, and in South Asia, shifts like this echo across borders. So there you have it, the Bangladesh Army's quiet revolution. From Javelin missiles to advanced airborne systems, they're building something that hasn't been publicly visible before, a truly modern, NATO-compatible special operations force. The question isn't whether they'll acquire these systems, it's how the region responds once they do. What do you think? Should we be watching Bangladesh more closely? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more defense analysis that goes beyond the headlines. I'm Defense Upcast, and I'll see you next time.